Alright guys, so I'm going to talk about inland in this here video and why it's best map, or close to, or maybe not at all if you hate water or macro maps in general, or just the fact that it's got silly elevations much like coastal. If it weren't obnoxiously bigger, you honestly would think it was coastal. I mean, not coastal, Oasis. But I'm just going to show you around. We'll go for a bit of a tour. As you can see, we've identified some water, and I've already taken a distant hunt, which is right in front of a closer hunt. So yay me, my scouting is awful. I know that though, and knowing is half the battle, right? So there's always 3 schools of fish at every single one of these lakes in inland. 3 to 5 of them spawn. So there is a little bit of randomness to the maps as well. But what we're going to do here is open up with 3 fishing ships, because actually we'll sort of go for 2 an age. Hunting dogs is a nice tech, so I'm going to get it. Squeeze out my fishing ship very slightly later. And there's often these big clusters of resources here on the corners of the map. A little bit up here, but this sort of kills the vibe a bit. You usually only get 1 or 2 spawns up here instead of 3 or 4. Unlike down here where you got like a billion. So I'm just sort of going to scout the edge of each of these waterlines, see if my opponent's taken a quick dock. I've sort of been the blessed player here with all the closer waterlines, so I can even open up for multiple docks. But I think it's safer to open up with 1 and go to 3 fishing ships if you find that your opponent's going for early spears. So we're going to go and check that out. And like I said, I'll go to 2 fishing ships and go and age up. And I'll send these guys back. And if he attacks me with spearmen in this position, it's easier just to add another fishing ship, pull this villager back, get him back home as soon as I know it's going to hit. And you can even, what you can do is distance gather here if you're worried you're not going to be able to just like keep a whole conscious eye on it the whole time, because he can't hit me with the spears on the fishing ships, and I can always use them to repair the dock if it takes damage, as well as I can attack any of his units with the fishing ships. They actually deal damage in this game. Little pro tip. Unlike Age of Empires, other Age of Empires games, you can actually roll your opponent's warships with fishing ships and good micro. If you've got 3 of them and your opponent's got a single warship, you've got another warship on the way, and yeah, like I said, you just micro your heart out and just pray you can actually defend that position, and then use your fishing ships to actually repair one another and the warship, because things can actually dodge immensely well on the water. Only the fishing ship actually hits targets with basically an undodgeable projectile. Everything else is a projectile that can be dodged on the water. But now I'm just sort of securing a couple of resources, sort of close enough as well. Pretty easy to pull villagers back and save them, even if cavalry hit there. But it is a good map for getting multiple docks out if you can. Force your opponent to actually have to commit to multiple docks of his own if he wants to punish your water without necessarily taking his own, because he's probably going to want to If he wants to play passively on the water, he's probably forced to go to a water, you know, a pond that's empty. Like, say if I take this, he's not going to want to take it if I'm already on it. I'm just going to see it and build a warship. And say if I'm on mine defensively already, if I'm already on 3 of them, if he takes 1 of them out, I'm already on 2. I'll just get cavalry and raid him on the land. Maybe work on trying to take the 3rd behind that. So it's a good map for really doing a big water creep if you can get away with it. If you're going to have to defend early, it is always a good idea to get cavalry on this map in case you see an opportunity to go and raid your opponent with them as well. And if you've got the control to be able to do so. So always, like any map, keep an eye on what your opponent's doing. Figure out what the hell is going on. I might even put this over on this side because it's going to be safer. Even if it's distance gathering. What I can do is actually figure out, if I want to be as greedy as possible, figure out where the schools of fish actually are, then sort of pick the safest spot based off that. So I'm just going to go Mass Raider, because Mass H2 Cavalry is a really good strategy on big maps at the moment. And I'll bring you back. In fact, no, I'll actually go for a 3rd water here. And like, what I'll do is go for his again. So he's sort of forced to actually put his in my territory. If I think I'm going to get the faster cavalry out, or faster just raiding composition out, particularly against Norse, I mean particularly against Celts, sorry, who are the civ that actually get the fastest infantry, they'll be the ones likely to go for a non-cavalry based raiding composition. As such, I can always bind these up on individual control groups as well. And yeah, just get to 3 fishing ships on them. Whichever one you built 3 fishing ships on first to start with, that's the one you're going to get net lures on. Pro tip, because you're not going to want to build more fishing ships now. You really only need to get 3. Always go for the greediest spot if you think it's not going to get raided, and they'll just, yeah, they'll just go like that. And I'll pump out some cavalry now and go and raid him. So yeah, guys, that's a bit of an overview of Inland, how you can sort of really approach it greedily and get ahead. You can actually take advantage of Spearman Harass to punish your opponent, but most of the time if he's already got 2 fishing ships out and is going to be able to afford a 3rd, there's no point in harassing the dock because he's just going to repair it with your spears until you get like a huge cluster of them. So you might as well go and roll his wood line, or force him off his hunt if he's still got any villages on it for now, or even go and hit his stone or his gold to like lock up his ability to produce units, or to commit to a second town center, and take advantage, and you know, actually take advantage of what food he's going to be getting. He's going to have to allocate everything off his food other than his dock, probably force out other fishing ships to compensate, and then you can go and hit him on the dock as well once you've got a big cluster of your spears. But yeah, generally you see fairly H2, H3 based raiding compositions on this map, considering it is quite a big map, not necessarily the most open, and you don't really want to be hanging around ponds your opponent secured, because he can always get a warship and basically use it like a ranged tower. Like if I've got both of these ponds here, I can put a warship in each of them, harass units coming through. It really makes my opponent have a really hard time moving infantry in range through this little passage here. I can do the same almost down here and down here if I end up with all the water. So yeah, guys, these are just some little tips and tricks for Inland. And I mean, being Egypt, I can't really stick around and take any fights, but what I can do here, go to age 3 quickly, get out horsemen on my own, get out some war dogs too, I suppose, get out some Hajars and bowmen, play a nice age 3 composition, and roll him over from there. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That's Inland for you.